I don't know. I'm open to anything. Don't know where this is going to go.
Well, that's the plan.
Let's go.
Get me out of work, then we're good.
I'm ready. Yeah, I want to go viral too.
Cool, let's do it. We'll do a TikTok dance after something.
Or should we start with that? That's the hook.
Yeah, maybe. Welcome to, I think you should hear this, a podcast exploring people's journeys of adversity, growth, and self-discovery. That's okay. Today I have with me Georgie Chambers, a great friend. We met at a community, I'd say 2 years ago, 2023, midway through. And we've gotten along ever since. Georgie, like me, is very involved in community, doing very great things in the space. 9 for 9's the most recent one I can think of, which is, could be whatever you wanted it to be really, but proactively doing things to improve your mental health and community events supporting that. So Georgie, thanks for accepting my invitation to come on the podcast. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a great person. Can't wait to get into this chat with you.
Thank you for accepting my invitation onto this podcast. Since I'm the one that invited. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for having me on the potty. Super keen to be here today.
Cool. Yeah. So 9 for 9, let's start with that. It's like, fresh off.
Current. Present.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
It's been a real passion of mine for the last 4 years, which got me out of my comfort zone effectively. But 9 for 9 is an organization, is a fundraiser that a friend of mine started, where all they were doing was getting people into the cold water for 9 minutes each day in winter. And the 9 represented the lives that we'd lose to suicide every day in Australia. And when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, that sounds really awful. Like, I hate the cold. This was back in 2021 and I just was not keen at all. And so in recognizing that, I was like, there's something here. Maybe I should just stretch myself and go down and try it. And I found in that moment, there were lots of community groups that were running throughout the week that I could go and partake in. So I met some new people. I did something that was really challenging. And at the end of the day, I was like, if I do it or if I don't, it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to put myself into a position where I was challenging what I thought I could actually do. And something that started quite small has become something quite large over the last few years. And part of the campaign over the last 2 years, I've been able to create a few other fundraisers and a few other events in the space to just support people to do something that's maybe challenging for them or do something for their mental well-being to support themselves.
What are a couple of the events that ran over this year? Like the 9 minutes, you want to speak to the laps and other events you ran?
Yeah, so this year specifically, we did a community day with Lululemon down at the track, where as a community, we were collectively doing 999 laps of the AS track. So there was probably 30 people that came down on the day and each did their part. And it was one of those beautiful reminders that by yourself, you can go somewhere really fast, but when you're together, you can go somewhere really far. So it was really cool to bring lots of people together for that really amazing cause. Another one that we did in community was spending the day with Men Over Matter out at Listfield Lake, where we did a walk and we were supporting people with their mental well-being and just bringing more people together. We also collaborated with a silent disco morning rave. So there were some really, really cool things that we did. Another breathwork community was part of it as well. And yeah, it was just an amazing opportunity to just bring so many incredible communities doing things for your mental well-being together so that other people that maybe weren't exposed to these beforehand could support their own mental well-being.
Awesome. Has there been any big breakthroughs for yourself, for your mental health, that through doing these little practices, whether it's 9 minutes of journaling, going to one of these events, having a conversation with someone that's sparked something for you?
This season for me, one of the biggest things I actually think that was probably the biggest breakthrough for this season was I had planned in my calendar that I wanted to do a 9-hour walk. And I'd just come home from traveling overseas and I jumped into this, helping organize this fundraiser. And I found that I was really stretched. I was preparing for an event that I was running. I was helping out with this campaign. I was still trying to work. I just had so many things going on. And all I could think of was this 9-hour walk was just something that my body and my mind didn't actually need in that moment. So instead of that, I decided to take the day as a 9-hour disconnect from everything. And so I didn't use my phone, didn't use my computer, forced myself to have some time off and just went out and enjoyed some peace and quiet and some cup filling things in nature for 9 hours. And that instead re-energized me and like lifted my energy, as opposed to me feeling like I had to say do this 9-hour walk for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Opportunity to check yourself and go, no, it's not serving me. It's not actually achieving anything by doing that. It's going to pull you back down, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just know, had I have done that, there would have been so much more stress going into, like, I think that was at the end of the second week. So going into the rest of August, I just knew that it was not going to be supportive, whereas this time was actually like so supportive of me.
Yeah.
Which
Awesome.
is something that I would never do. Usually I'm like, yep, keep going, keep pushing. So yeah, it was probably a breakthrough in that it's okay to slow down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, something I've been learning to do myself recently, because it's usually burn yourself out, push through it, and then you are forced to stop due to a sickness, injury, whatever. So yeah, this year's been a lot to take away from that.
Yeah. And I know that we've spoken about in the past as well. Sometimes, slowing down or stopping actually propels you further and faster after that. So yeah, one of those moments of slow down to speed up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just like reflecting on it now. I've been able to achieve so much more because I've taken 1 or 2 days off than trying to go without the 2 days, and then it forces me to stop for 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think anyone can probably reflect on their own experiences, like say with sickness, and you're like, oh, I'm okay. I just keep pushing through. And that sickness ends up lasting like a lot longer. But if you just take that one day and actually fully rest, you're like, oh, I'm better a lot quicker. I know that from my experience, that's happened before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. In my head, I'm like, I don't believe in getting sick. I would not let us sit. Like, I would not admit defeat at all. But that's just a little thing going on in my head. One thing you didn't mention that happened over that month was the fitness festival. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So the largest event on my calendar was a fitness festival that I founded with a friend of mine, which brings together like 3 of our probably big values in business, which is community, movement, and challenge. And so we created this event all around moving the body in lots of different ways, bringing lots of people together, no matter where you are or what your circumstances are, and allowing people to step into challenging spaces and stretching their comfort zone while they're there. So this fitness festival hosts a day or like a morning of lots of different variations of movement, and we collaborated with the 9 for 9 on that, and they did a beautiful, more mental fitness sort of space and slowing down and tuning in and checking in with our bodies. And it was a really powerful day, and just like, yeah, something that I'm incredibly proud of and can't believe still that we were able to like create something really incredible and what that looks like for us going forward as well.
Yeah, it was a great day to be a part of. So many different activities that had each their own individual flavor to them, instead of being like, oh, like it's a gym this, like boxing that, or something like that. It was, yeah, something mindfulness, something playful. There, you could tell they were all separate, and I thought that was really cool. I loved that there was a very broad audience as well. You couldn't pigeonhole people that attended an Energize and Elevate event for sure. It brought people from all walks of life, and they had activities for all of those people. Like there was challenging things for me, like the jungle body thing. I definitely didn't finish that. That was too deep deep outside the comfort zone. But then there was, parts that we're definitely keen on. Like there's basketball courts, you play basketball, you could do push-up challenges and dead hangs and all that sort of thing. Yeah, just had everything. They had food vendors, supplements,
Recovery.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. It's been a hard one to share with people exactly what it is, because there's not really anything that's like it. But when you sort of attend and when you're part of the energy that we created, it's just like, wow, this is really cool. But yeah, it is something that there is something for everyone, whether you're a fitness fanatic or whether you're not. There is an element of something that you will get out of it or that you could enjoy.
For sure. Yeah. What's next for the Energize Elevate space?
We actually took a couple of weeks off because it was huge, but we ran a summer one in Feb. So we'll run another summer one in Melbourne. And then next year we're looking at taking it interstate as well. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. So it would be amazing to have it in both Sydney and somewhere in Queensland. by the end of next year. And then in 2027, looking to have it in Perth and Adelaide as well. And ultimately running like a summer and a winter event or like a spring and a autumn event in different states. But yeah, really just heavily bringing together people that like to move their bodies and want to challenge themselves and connect with others.
That's huge. So cool. Yeah. Why Sydney first? Just closest or?
Maddie, my business partner, she's from New South Wales originally and has quite a big network up there. But also just feels like, the first stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's still quite a very populated like city. Most people are around in and around Sydney. Whereas say going up to Queensland, it's like, do we go Gold Coast, Sunny Coast, Brisbane? Like there's that challenge of like, which one do we go to? Whereas I feel like Sydney is just like, yep, we're going to hit somewhere in amongst the city. Yeah,
very densely populated area. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, there's also going to be challenges with that because we just, how do we market that to a community group or to people that we haven't connected with up there? So we'll definitely face some obstacles with that, but looking forward to the challenge. And the more that we comfortably run it here in Melbourne and expand our ability and our reach, the possibilities is open.
Yeah, super exciting. I love that you're taking the steps to make it happen, but you've set goals and intentions further down the track. So people go, it happened, like, cool, we'll see. But you're like, no, we're like setting KPIs and that sort of thing to get where you want to be. That's cool.
Well, I think also because it's something that, as I mentioned, isn't really being offered or run anywhere else. So we see the value in it. We are starting to allow others to see the value in it. We just, why not have a crack?
Yeah, for sure. That's unreal. There's not really too many factors that are going to get in your way apart from like the challenges that you just mentioned. Why couldn't it happen?
Yeah. And I think there's such a blessing of social media these days that the outreach is so much easier and being able to target different population groups, I guess. So
cool.
We'll be sweet. Keen as.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to what you mentioned about 2021 doing the challenge, and you said there was other community groups that you used to stretch yourself. I think I'd like to hear about, obviously the community would be a big part of the conversation. But for me, it's like the communities are cool. Like I love doing it, but it's the relationships I've made from like each certain ones. What do you think about I think I can only speak for Melbourne, but it feels really unique, like talking to people from other states that they don't really have that sense of community where Melbourne is, you got run clubs, breath work, sports, like whatever. What do you think it is about the communities that we have down here that make them so easy to find your people?
Whoa, that's a tough question. I think there is just such a broad range of them that there's so many opportunities to try and like find what one works for you best. And with that broad range, there's like always going to be different places which offer different like modalities and different people with different values. And within each of them and a bit of trial and error, I think it's just like so beautiful to be able to just like shape who you are and be in those communities where you feel really supported and seen. So I think having such a broad range enables you to find what is best for you.
Yeah, as I was asking the question and then listening to your response, I was like, most of the people that I speak to now, that I hang out with now, are people that I've met in communities, not people that I went to high school with or played sport with, which is actually crazy. So it's over 2 years that's really shaped who I am, the circles I operate in, and as a result, like has impacted my physical, mental well-being for sure. Like the environments you put yourself in. Yeah.
Well, I always just like refer back to, and I share this a lot in like some presentations that I do, but like we are the average of the 5 people we spend most time with. And I think Tony Robbins talks about that, like proximity is power. And I think the more that I started to learn that and lean into that with different community groups, I started to be clearer on my values. I started to find people that were clear on their values, and we started to like connect and collaborate and understand each other like in these really beautiful ways. And I know that I talk about it with my housemate a lot, whom I met randomly in a community group, but it's just like this refinement. And as we grow and evolve as humans, we refine like those people around us and recognizing what's supporting us and uplifting us and celebrating us and getting the best out of us and what's not. And each time we find that, we refine our friendships and refine who we are, I guess.
It's definitely trial and error and refinement, because when you're younger, you just feel like you do have heaps of friends, and your parents have like that 4 or 5, and like, how does that even happen? And then you realize it's all alignment, and just like, oh, they eventually drop off, and you might keep the core, you'll weed them out.
For sure. And I think it's really interesting, like, again, coming back to social media is a beautiful platform for that ability to still stay connected with people that maybe we knew from when we were younger. But yeah, I don't really talk to anyone. Oh, there's maybe a handful that I still talk to and connect with that have seen like the growth and evolution of me. But a lot of those people went to uni and really happy in their career path and have like stayed in that space. And I've just continually been like searching for more and continued. Like, growth is a massive value of mine. And I think all the people that I surround myself with really value growth as well. And so when you put yourself in a room with people that are wanting to grow and expand, it's like, well, fuck, anything's possible, and all these people are doing and creating really cool things.
Where or when did you realize that growth was a value of yours?
I think when I like first realized my mental illness was really holding me back, and I started to like take steps to empower myself and to change. It was in those moments where I was doing a few courses in personal development. I was in the personal development space, and we were doing these like opportunities where you could sort of recognize where your values were and where they'd been and how they'd changed and where you're all going and what you wanted to be like looking into. And I think in that moment, I realized how much I really valued growth as a person.
Yep.
And so that was probably maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it's funny, I have these moments where I get stagnant and I wonder why I'm frustrated. And it's like, oh, because I'm really not like valuing my own growth, or like the growth of a career path, or the growth of like a side hustle or a project that I'm working on. So like every time I find myself frustrated or stuck, it's like, oh, well, let's like recap on where my values are at and what am I like neglecting or forgetting about, and what am I actually.
So what were some of the courses when you got on your personal development journey? What are a few of the things that you've taken on board?
Like within the courses? Like key learnings?
Courses you've done, and then, some key learnings from there.
2019 was like really pivotal. Before that, I was very... I like can't even remember who I was because life was very different back then. But I was very afraid of like just about my own shadow. Like, I was really scared to do anything. Like, as soon as it got late at night and dark, I'd stay at home. I was too scared to like drive. I was too scared to leave my house. I came across a guy who was running a workshop called Self-Mastery. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but he promised on there like it would be a really transformational experience. And I tried some therapy in the past, and I tried a few different things, but I just had no idea how I was going to get myself out of this situation. And I was like, I'll give it a crack. And I remember mum at the time being like, how do you trust this person? He's just like popped up in an ad on social media. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm just like, I was clutching at straws. I wanted a quick fix, and I wanted something to like take the pain away from me. So I rocked up to this self-mastery course, which was a 3-day over a weekend. And it was like, you go into this vortex and you're in this for like 3 days, almost like a retreat, but like, yeah, you go into this vortex, and you can never explain everything that happens in those sort of situations because there's so many things that are like, that are occurring. But I started to meet people. I started to, for the first time, be open about like where I was and what was going on in my world. And I just started to learn some tools that supported me to see life from a different lens and perspective. And I remember leaving that course being like, fuck, I want to make a change in this world, and I want to help people get out of like the challenges that they're in. And so that was probably the first step. And then I continued like working with that mentor in a few different ways going forward. And yeah, just like, again, it came back to how I took on an opportunity to change my life, which then allowed me to realize there were so many other people probably out there that were stuck in their own ways. And like, it just was a bit of fuel for me to want to support more people.
Cool. If you don't mind me asking, you said you were afraid to like leave the house, drive at night. Is there a reason that would make you feel that way?
Yeah, when I was at college, so during uni, I had a few incidences surrounding alcohol and just like sexual assault. And I just got to this point where I just felt like I couldn't leave a space. I felt so confined to being somewhere that felt safe and that felt like I couldn't be hurt or touched. And yeah, I was too afraid to go anywhere effectively when it was dark. When it was light, I seemed to be okay. Like I was happy to drive, was happy to do activities, went to uni, went to work, whatever it was. But yeah, as soon as darkness hit, I just like couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, that's crippling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a breath of fresh air to be able to reflect back on that now and be like, cool, there were so many things that I did that helped me get out of the position that I was in.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes courage to actually have some agency when that's happening and do something about it. Because, yeah, you could be suffering from that your whole life and just like, I meet people that, you know, are 60, 70 and they're still victims of something that happened to them 50 years before.
Yeah.
And they decide that they identify with that instead of go, I want different. And they take the steps to put themselves in a better place. So it's really awesome that you found something that really helped you.
Yeah.
And then also to like alchemize that and use that to help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think initially it was all about how I could use those tools and share it straight away. But I think the more I've learned about my journey is like the more I can share of how I've been able to create this transformation for myself. Others come along for the journey and are like, oh my God, tell me more. What have you done? And that's even more empowering because it's not like sharing that everyone has to do something. And I see that a lot sort of in this space as well as like you create this shift in your world and it is so powerful and empowering for you and you just want to share it and shout it from the rooftops. But I think the most important thing is just like embodying the change that you've created and then people will notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to people about it and I was literally thinking about this today. So often in the coaching space, spiritual space, healing space, whatever space you want to talk about it, it's, you know, we're always trying to help people with the things we helped ourselves with, but it feels like it comes from a place of ego and projection that you like need validation for the work you've done. So you want to help other people so they tell you how much you've helped them rather than just embodying it and them seeing the change and then they come to their own conclusion that they can look up to you and they're going to try and do that for themselves. Because so often you ram it down someone's throat, no matter how good it is, how much it's helped you, it's like putting two negative batteries together. They're just going to push back the other way.
Yeah.
Where if, you know, you lead with light and you show them how well you're doing, you don't tell them, they go, oh, what's he doing? And then 6 months later, they're like, oh, I tried this. And you just swallow your pride and go, cool, I'm glad you're trying to help yourself, not where's my credit for you being better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like a passageway of learning effectively. I know at the start I was like super keen to help so many people.
Yeah, same.
And just as part of my evolution, I guess, it was natural for me to be like, hey, can I explore this or can I, you know, share what I've done? And again, it was a really cool experience and people were really receptive and loving towards that. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, embody it. You take charge. You lead with, as you say, lead with light and love. The people will come to you when they have questions that they want answered.
Whenever I tell people what they should be doing, they don't listen.
The resistance.
Yeah. And like, which is 100% fair and correct. Never, they shouldn't tell people how to live their life. But when you show people how you're living and they can see that that's positive and that you're happy and that it's genuine, then they'll want to follow along. And so there's so many forms of coaching, but I really, from playing footy, I'm like, I feel like I'd be more of a captain, you know. You're in the trenches with them, you're doing the work and they get behind you rather than pointing the finger and say, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the way I look at it and how I'm trying to do it.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
I think there's so much power in what you just said of not pointing the finger and placing blame, but it's like taking ownership and taking accountability of where we're at and what we're doing and being there to rally the troops and help them out of those spaces.
For sure. It's like, all you're doing is extending an olive branch. And if they ask for help, you take it. But you don't like point the finger if they don't. And if you don't get the validation or a thank you, just know that you've done what you needed to do anyway. And it's up to them to take the rest. Like it doesn't, there's no bearing on whether or not you're just doing it to be kind, to spread good. You don't need validation in thank yous or finances unless it's your job.
Yeah.
And that's different. But yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the way I look at it now. It used to be very different. It used to be like, why aren't you all doing this? Like, this works. Look, look, do it. Like, do this. And then it's like, why does no one listen? And now it's changed. And the people that were resistant are now asking questions just by changing that perspective.
Yeah, so cool. So cool.
Yeah. So self-mastery course, growth, high value.
I think another one that you asked before that I didn't allude to, but was quite a pivotal and life-changing sort of time, was doing my yoga teacher training.
Cool.
It was something that I'd always wanted to do. I sort of connected with yoga when I had an injury and I couldn't run and I couldn't play sport. So yoga became like the form of exercise I could do. And in learning a little bit more about yoga, I was like, I actually want to be able to teach this. And coming from a teaching background, working with young people, I was working at the time at quite a low SES school. And I really wanted to offer like lunchtime meditation and yoga practice for any of the kids that wanted to come. So I went away on the summer holidays and I did my yoga teacher training, and that was incredibly enlightening for me. I left after the 3-week course. I left and I like literally changed my whole life. I left a long-term relationship that I'd been in. I left like the country town that I was living in. I left the job that I was in. Like, I just flipped my life 180, and it just gave me so much perspective and so much time to think and so much space and stillness, which I'd never allowed my mind or my body to have before. And there was so much that came through.
Do you want to elaborate on the things that came through?
Well, I think like most of it was just like, who was I? Who was I living this life that wasn't aligned to me or that I didn't love? And even though really challenging to step away from those things that are so safe and so structured and the things that were comfortable and that we knew, I knew that there was so much in that wasn't me. And in coming out of that 3-week portal of learning and diving into the yoga practice as well as myself, I had to confront a few hard truths, and I had to, in order for me to live the best life that I could, I had to choose me and I had to choose a different way of living. So yeah.
Yeah. It's funny if people don't know what a yoga teacher training entails other than just yoga poses. They're like, what? A few sun salutations when you do all that. So do you want to elaborate on what is a yoga teacher training entails?
Yeah, well, the first, there were a few assignments throughout the 3 weeks that we had to accomplish. One of them was reading the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And even in just reading that changed my perspective so much on things, because I'd always been a planner. I was always a forward thinker. I was always thinking about what was next, the future, and all these goals and dreams that I wanted to create in life. And it just really honed in this moment right now and being like, well, fuck, we've got no other moment in life except for where I am here. And that brought me back to presence. And that brought me back to this understanding of well, actually, do I want all those things right now? I don't know. Do I want to be living in a job that was fulfilling, but it didn't feel like it was right for me right now? So that was one of the assignments we had to do. And that was huge just to kick it off. There was learning through movement, and there was lots of workshops where you had to learn the history of the postures and then understand how they connect with you. And then you had to teach and you're embodying a lot of those principles as well. And it was just, I think for my own experience, it was the stillness. It was sitting in meditation and understanding meditation and exploring different forms of yoga within that really made me put a pause on things.
Yeah, I was just drawing a couple things from that. Is growth's a high value, always forward thinking, setting goals for the future, struggling with stillness. Can you remember a time where you before all of these things were, I would say, trained into you, where you felt safe just doing nothing, just being?
I never did.
Yeah?
No.
Can you think of a reason why you wouldn't just feel safe just being? What drives someone from a young age to go, no, this isn't good enough, I need more?
God, that is such a tough question. Where did that start? I feel like it came, this has just popped in, it felt like it came from a belief that I wasn't good enough. And so if I wasn't good enough, it was well, how could I prove that I'm better? How could I do more things? How could I be in more places? How could I dream bigger and take action on cool goals?
Can you remember the first time that you felt you weren't good enough?
Or the first time specifically, know, but I know that there was a series of different things when I was younger. I remember one time specifically, and this has been like a bit of a shame story in the past, but I was, I think, 5 years old, and I have always connected really well with males. And as a kid, all I wanted to do was kick the footy around with the boys and wear shorts. And as a 5-year-old, that was just weird back in the day. And I went home to mum and I was like, can you cut all my hair off? I want to be with the boys. I want to hang out with the boys and I want to be a boy. And mum was like,
Geez, these days that would be dangerous.
Yeah. And mum was like, what? And I was like, I want you to cut my hair off.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. It was just cutting my hair off so that I like looked like I could be hanging out and kicking the footy with the boys. So she did. And I remember going to school the next day and that was like so embarrassing where everyone was like, what? Who is this person? What has she done? And I was like, I just want to be able to play footy with the boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reflect on that back now and I'm like, oh my God, that was such a shameful experience for me. And I still like have these moments where I'm like, oh, did I really do that? But that's what I wanted. And in those moments, it's like, well, you're not good enough if you're a girl. You're not good enough if you're a boy. Like, who were you?
Yeah. I didn't plan to get on this topic. I didn't know that was going to come up. Let's see, 27 years ago, that's 1998. That happens, right?
Yeah.
Say that now, that's a completely different scenario. How dangerous do you think, like all your mum had to do was go, yeah, sweet, cut your hair off. Like, that's cool. We'll leave it at that. And, you know, like you said, it was a shameful experience at the time. Where now that's completely changing someone's identity. Who knows how far they could lead, depending on how a parent takes it. If you talk to teachers about it, because they have so much power now. Like, do we entertain the things that 5-year-olds say nowadays too much? Like, do you think that's a dangerous thing to go? Like now you're like, oh, well, like I'm a girl. I just like playing footy with the boys. Do you think that there's going to be, in 27 years' time, a 5-year-old kid that likes playing footy with the boys doing something that they can't change, that they were like, oh, I was just a 5-year-old kid. How was I supposed to know?
I think that's so true. And I think the beauty of back then was that it was just like, cut my hair off. My hair grew back. As you said, I still embody and I am a female and I love everything about myself now. But I think these days it is really concerning, and especially like coming from a teaching background, that we do entertain that with kids. But I think also in the world that we live in, there's so many more opportunities for girls to be playing footy. And it's not weird for girls to want to play footy with the boys. And it's okay for that to coexist together. But I think a 5-year-old has the rest of their childhood still to live and their teen years. And there's going to be times where they don't feel like they fit in and they don't feel like, you know, that they may want to change things. But I think entertaining that as an idea, I don't think that's...
Because I feel like you identify with the group you're accepted in. And that happens, you know, talked about the average of 5 people you spend most time with. And if you feel like you're an outcast and there's a specific group that makes you feel welcome, you're going to want to identify with that group. So, of course, a kid's going to go, yeah, I am this, like I really believe it, because they want to be a part of it. Same as, you know, you grew up in a family of Essendon supporters. You're going to be an Essendon supporter. You got no idea who plays on that team, who played there 5 years ago, who's going to play there in 5 years. But because the people around you are there, like, you know, all these nuffy Collingwood supporters or something like that, they go, I go to every game, I do this, I do that, because the people I was around did it and I'm doing it too, with no conscious thought as to why they should go for a certain team.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly, one-eyedly support it. And I think giving so much energy to that is, potentially dangerous.
Absolutely. And I think even just like what you were saying just then really highlighted to me the power of the words that we use as well. And I think in that of like, I am this or I am that, like we automatically place this like energy on our identity of who we are, when it's like, well, not always does that transpire into who we are, and the power that we can take over shifting our identity if something doesn't align. But yeah, I think as a 5-year-old, you're a kid, let them play, let them be free, let them explore those things, but don't make big changes.
Yeah, because, you know, even though it's frowned upon, you choose a bad footy team, you can always change it.
Yeah, that is very frowned upon.
Yeah. Some things you just can't undo. Yeah. Or, I like, you know, trying to like not say the exact thing, but have you seen the videos on the internet and go, oh, would you like let a 16-year-old kid or a 12-year-old kid get a tattoo? No, why not? Oh, it's there forever. Okay. Why did you say yes to the other thing? I think people, it's just their I'm not trying to say agenda, but like where society's at the moment is really trying to accept everything, but they don't take a worldview. Like they don't look at it from other lenses where it's like, well, if you compare it to that, if you compare it to a footy team, what's like, I don't know.
Which I think is also the challenge of the time that we're living in with access to social media and access to so many opinions and so many thought leaders saying different things and so much of AI changing like reality. And I mean, I get confused sometimes, and I know I present to kids and I'm like, there's so much information at our fingertips. There's so much that bombards us every day. Like, how do we know what's true? How do we know what's artificial intelligence? How do we know what's reality?
Yeah.
Like, that's a scary thought. Anyway, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah, the biggest thing I've learned with that is being able to swallow my pride and admit you're wrong at times.
Yeah.
Because at least that means you're going to learn a lot. Because, you know, if you're not right, you should be learning. Otherwise, well, you're just being, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a...
sorry, I took us on a little side quest there.
Yeah, side quest that I didn't expect to go on, but...
I think ultimately, to sum up, basically, like bullying experiences shaped the value, shaped the beliefs that I found about myself. And where people tell you that you're different or you're not enough or you're not cool enough or whatever. And that really shapes a 5 or 6 year old in those moments.
Sure. For sure, you know, 0 to 7, especially 5 to 7, you're joining school. Everyone's creating their gangs, their friendships. And if you're not in, you're going to want to change yourself to fit in.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of words when you said bullying helps shape your values. Because do you feel like if you're still living the way that 5-year-old did, reaction to bullying, do you feel like there's something in you that's still holding on to that? The need to get to grow is still part of that 5-year-old inside you?
I haven't even really thought about it like that before. Like there could be an element of it that it's like needing to prove for sure. But I feel like more these days it's like this need to, or this want to prove to myself that I'm capable of so much more than I actually realize I am. In the past, absolutely, it was to prove to my parents that I was good enough, or that was to prove to my friends that I could fit in. But I feel like now it's more of I want to prove to myself that I can do challenging things, or I can do hard things, or I can do more than I believe I'm capable of, and like shatter glass ceilings that I put on top of myself.
Yeah. As is it like I need to prove to myself like it's not the same person, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, then who are you proving it to? Who is you myself? That's why I feel like it's an outside thought and not an internal one. Otherwise, I wouldn't be proving it to. It feels like you know, how Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which is like the body that you've created. It feels like it's proving it to something that's been created that's may have like protected you earlier. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's like, I need to prove this to myself, it's like, well, who created the belief that you needed to, who created the glass ceiling?
Yeah.
Because if you truly believe that you were limitless, the ceiling wouldn't exist. So who created it?
I did.
Yeah.
For sure.
But that's the thing. I don't think you say I did, because I'm the one proving it to myself. So it's like someone else. Like it's I think we put too much weight on things that we hear as kids, and that we need to find a way to like fuck it off. I think if it was, you know what I mean? Because if struggling to sit in stillness and constantly having a growth mindset is still a thing there, which is still like a good value to have, of course. Like I'm saying that because I'm the same. It's good because I believe it. I've lost where I'm at. It's a good mindset to have, but it's also like born out of negativity. So it's still like there's still some weight down there. Otherwise, you'd be okay with the fact it's like, no, like I've done really good things. I don't need to like then take that to the next level and build something else to the point where you need to take time to rest because, well, like your nervous system's still like obviously going, hey, like I just want to be for a little bit. Yeah. And you're like, you have to make the conscious effort to stop because you know you're like doing damage to yourself. So that's why I feel like there's still a bit of something external. Probably. What do you reckon?
Probably. But hey, I'm human.
All this is a mirror for me because everything you're saying, I'm like, I'm kind of having this conversation for my own internal needs. Yeah, because all I'm doing is asking you questions that I'm asking myself at the same time and trying to work it out, which is pretty cool to have. Because I'm the same, like always, like need to do this, want to do that. Like we're talking about off camera before. It's like, well, I need more time and I need more money, but I need to work to make the money. But then because I work, I don't have the time. And it's like, well, why do you need to do all these extra things? A lot of people just work and be happy. Why can't you do that? And I'm like, how could you be happy just working? Like, I don't get how people do that. And it's like, well, what is it in me that can't be happy? Aren't they the lucky ones?
I think we're the lucky ones.
I do too, but that's because we're us.
Because we're in that.
Do they think, does everyone else think that they're capable of more, or are they just happy being what they are?
Well, I don't, and we'll never know because we're not those people. But I still think it's like, I don't know. I think it's an incredible trait to have, to desire more and to explore what more can look like for us. But I also think if you're happy, like where you are in your jobs and doing the things you're doing and not desiring or not valuing like growth as one of your high values, I think that's also awesome. Like,
I'm jealous, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not.
I think it's a burden at times because I'm like, all right, I just need a rest. So I think there's blissful ignorance in lots of areas. People I see, people I observe.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, I wish I could do that. Nothing. And that's, again, that's not a derogatory nothing. That's like, I wish I could just sit and be happy. Like that's my struggle. I'm not trying to talk down other people.
I know for like where I'm at right now, I've had a few moments of these like blissful moments of just like pure joy recently where I'm not in a space of like necessarily demanding the growth of myself or like putting myself in those positions. But like when you stop and you're like, fuck, life's pretty good. I am really happy. Yeah. I do really love what I'm doing. But in order for me to continue on that path, it's like, you know, if you run a business or if you've still got to continue showing up for that, which requires you to continue growing and evolving with that. Yeah.
Because I ask myself this all the time. It's like, well, when are you going to be happy? Because I want to build all of these things. And what I'm telling myself now is if I get it bigger, make enough money, then I don't have to work, then I'll be happy. But I know that time will come and then I'll have more time and I won't have to work and I'll put all that time into building something else or something greater. Yeah.
I've definitely felt like that before as well, where the goalposts move and you like keep trying to move with them. But I remember, and I know that this is going to sound ridiculous. Actually, no, it won't. I'm not even going to frame that. They always talk about it's the journey, not the destination. And I feel like I used to hear that all the time and I was like, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. But until you fully embody it or like experience it, I didn't realize how much like that actually made sense to me. But last year I was over in Nepal doing Everest base camp and the Nepalese leader was like, some of you won't make it to base camp. And that will be a shame, but also don't worry because you'll get all the best parts as you go on the journey, as you like all the sights that you see. And I was like, bullshit, man. Like if I don't make it to base camp, like I'm going to be so disappointed. I'm going to be so upset. Like what a waste of me coming here. And in those moments as I was trekking for whatever, it was like 8 days up, I think, and 5 days back. But in every moment there was just like bliss in everywhere we looked, like all the like temples that you'd go past, all their prayer flags, like there was so much peace, there was so much presence, all the nature that we were walking through. And when I got to base camp, I was like, cool, we did it. But it wasn't like this incredible experience when I was actually there. It was like, it totally was the journey going up to that spot. So I think in that moment, I like really reflected on that saying of it is about the journey, not the destination. Like, yeah, this camp was cool. We got there. It was like tick that box. However, everything that I did leading up to that and the 8 days experiencing that time out in the wilderness was like incredible.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the Alan Watts quote where he says, you don't listen to a song to get the end of it. You listen to the song to listen to the song.
Yeah.
And that's spot on. Yeah. When you put it that way, it is about the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constantly trying to remind yourself of that.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying the journey so far. I couldn't like put it into seasons. It's a big raw.
Yeah. Even like the concept of like you can only connect the dots looking back. And I shared this a little bit last night on my social media of like sometimes you don't know why you're doing something. Sometimes you like an opportunity comes up and you're like, yeah, sure, we'll explore it. And it's not until like you get to a point where you reflect back and you're like, oh, fuck that. I needed that to be able to do this, to be able to have this opportunity. And it's like that it all makes sense when you look back at the journey. But in the moment, sometimes you're like, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean?
Why is this happening for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there's such power in when we can reflect on those moments and realize like everything that we're doing in life is supporting us in some way to get to the next place that we want to be, or to help us understand who we are more, or help us in a financial capacity. This may not be the job that I really love, but at the moment it's helping, me survive in order for me to create something else on the side in a small part. So I think the power of reflection, to be able to stop and recognize the opportunities that we're being given and how they can support the future growth that we don't know about yet.
You mentioned you shared on social media last night. You've definitely gotten a lot more active on social media since getting back from overseas. I'd love for you to touch on the inspiration behind that, and then a few of the key things you've been touching on, because you talked about your journey and the body image stuff. I've brought it up on here before, talked to other people about it. I think it's something that a lot of people have gone through, can relate to. And I'd love to share your perspective on it and the challenges you've gone through. And I'm sure someone needs to hear this, and I'm sure that someone can go, that little girl's me too.
Yeah, I think sometimes I've got a lot of wisdom to share, and I do know I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not very good at articulating that, and sometimes I hold myself back from sharing it because I'm like, who needs to hear that? It's just another bit of Georgie's brain, basically. But the 7 weeks that I spent overseas, I spent 20-something days, I can't even remember now, 20-something days solo. And in that time, I've always had a pretty negative body image. I've had a pretty bad relationship with myself. And I spent 5 days in Hawaii by myself during that trip. And I really started to reconnect with myself, and I was diving into all the parts of me that I'd neglected over the years. And I did this little mind map of every part of Georgie that I'd neglected and that I'd forgotten about and that I'd shunned or that I'd shamed. And in all of those parts of me that I'd seen, I was like, fuck, I need to mend this. This is so bad. And the most important relationship that we have in our life is the one with ourselves. And so in that moment, I was like, how can I start healing this? And all I did was start writing letters to these parts of myself that I'd shamed or that I'd embarrassed or that I'd shut off from my world and tried to ignore or push away. And that was a really powerful experience for me in that moment, to start to recognize why I'd done it and why it was, why I was embarrassed by that or whatever. And it just started to mend that relationship with myself and reminding myself that I don't have none of us have bad parts. They're just parts of us that, maybe at times have been unaligned. But how can we mend that, and how can we shed some love in those parts of us and bring compassion to, they have shaped us to be who we are today. Without, some of those awful experiences, I wouldn't be here and be able to share this stuff. So that 7 weeks and that 20-something days gave me a lot of time to really reflect on who I was and what I wanted. And I don't even know why, but I came home and I was just like, fuck it. I want to change things. I want to be able to offer more to people. I want to share some of my experiences and be able to just, if I can help one person, or if I can just, shed light on an experience that I've had and someone else is like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. And so it's just evolved into this opportunity where I can share these experiences that are relatable to one person or to another person. And I think one of my gifts that I've realized more recently is just the power of connecting through writing. And I really love writing, and I really love being able to share my thoughts through poetic ways and through just written texts. So I started writing a book a couple of years ago, and I've brought that back to the surface in the last couple of months since I've been home. And I've been wanting to share that more, of just there's so many parts of all of us that relate to so many parts of everyone else as part of the human experience. Mm-hmm. And when we don't feel alone, we feel supported, we feel seen, we feel nurtured, and it heals parts of us. So long story short, that's a lot of why I've started sharing and just being really open with where life is at.
Yeah, so you said since sharing, you've had people say that they relate. What's some of the things that maybe the listeners can relate to, or viewers, whatever they are, that they can relate to? Or what's worked for you so far, or for them?
I think the biggest thing at the moment is being the man in the arena. That a lot of friends have reached out and been like, yeah, that's a really powerful thing of when you really want to go for something and you want to try it, but there's fear that holds you back. It's like, how can I be the person to put myself in the arena and be willing to try something, whether no matter what the outcome is, like I'll be able to learn. So I've had a couple of friends reach out being like, your courage enables me to feel like I can step into my courage more because you show me that like even if I fail, it's not a failure. If I fail, I can still learn something or understand something about myself that enables me to grow further or understand myself even more going forward. So that's one. A massive thing about, like, as I said before, body image and my journey with my eating disorder, how that shaped me as a person, but how being able to share that at a pretty vulnerable level has had so many people reach out being like, that was also me. Like, I was that girl that couldn't look in the mirror. I was that girl that, you know, would want to control every situation. I was that girl that couldn't sit still and had to keep moving because she was too afraid of her own shadow or whatever that is. So that's probably been also like one of the most pivotal ones for anyone that's seen my socials.
Yeah, how does having eating disorder shape you? Other than physically.
How
does it affect? Obviously, it's mental health that causes it. How does it affect your physical health? Like energy levels, and then how does that then flow on effect for other things in life and then causes other things, you know what I mean? I feel like it would be...
I think one of the biggest things that it impacted was my social life. It caused me to be really isolated. I was in a relationship with someone, but I feel like I didn't know them and they didn't know me because I was too afraid of what my body looked like. I was too afraid to eat in front of them. I was too afraid of so many of those like challenges that really like separated our relationship a little bit in that. But also then, you know, didn't want to go out for dinner with mates. Didn't want to go out and drink with friends because it was like, no, that's not something that aligns with my mentality or like the position that I'm in. So I felt like living with that illness definitely isolated me from people. That was probably one of the biggest things. What else? Did you spark something else just then? That I think there was a lot of like living in fear, so unwilling to try new things. I was always living in this mentality that people would always be staring at me and looking at me and judging me, and even though I was unwell and quite small, I was always terrified that people thought that I was really large and overweight, and it's just like such a distortion on what actually who you are and what you are, I guess. And becoming like a presenter for and an advocate for like body image and eating disorder, I think that's taught me so much about the languaging that we use and how we can support people just by like the smallest things.
How can we improve the language we use?
One thing is that like Butterfly I definitely talk about is like being in a bigger body. Like we're not saying that, you know, there's difference in sizes, but like someone being in a bigger body as opposed to someone being fat is one thing that they like talk a lot about. For me, what's been really powerful is actually just shedding light on everyone's uniqueness. And recognizing, I think when I was at my sickest, like thinking that I had to fit a certain body shape and type, but recognizing like there is not one size fits all, there is not one body shape, like everyone is so vastly different, and celebrating that. And again, these things are like easier said than done. And I still have days where I'm like, cool, I don't love my body. I don't like my body, but I can be kind to it. Because at the end of the day, the relationship that I have with it and how I go about being compassionate or kind is going to help me going forward. But if I berate it and tell it I hate it or like pick it apart, that's not helping the situation. And that's ruining my relationship.
Do you feel like, because again, it's just a mirror. Like I'm like, yeah, there's more days than not that I'm not happy with how I look. And I think the society we're in feeds victimhood, and they say it's okay to look the way you do, and like it is for the most part.
But and like, you know, you can go like, oh yeah, make peace with it, make peace with it. It's like, oh, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? That's what I say to myself. Like, it's like, well, if you don't like the way you look, like, are you
What are you doing to
like, you don't need to
change?
tear yourself down, but it's like, okay, like, be honest with yourself. Are you like doing the things you should be doing right? Like, where are you not looking after yourself? Like how can you improve that? It's like, oh, it's okay, just like love yourself however you look. It's like, yeah, to a point.
And taking
Like,
action as well.
Yeah,
to
it's like,
get you-
okay, but like if you don't love it, then like what are you doing? Are you eating the right foods? Are you exercising? Because for me, I'm like, all right, like I had a couple of snacks at work and a bit to this, a bit to that, and it's like, well then, like why you can't like be a victim then? Like take ownership of that and
Yeah.
like, do what you said you wanted to do. Like how bad do you really want to? Like for me, my goal is sport. So it's like, well, how bad do you want it? Do you want that, or do you want to like
Indulge.
a
few
It's like,
steaks.
yeah, or some gluten-free
Cake.
gluten-free chocolate cake. It's like, well, if you really wanted the goal, then you wouldn't have that. So also
Easier said than done.
yeah, so much easier said than done. I know. But taking ownership of it and not like beating yourself down over it. It's like, well, just be honest with yourself about it. That's my struggle. That's where I'm at though. It's like,
For sure.
yeah.
I
Don't beat
think-
yourself up, but don't lie to yourself. And
Yeah.
go, oh, it's okay. Like, you know, I'm trying not to sound like heartless, but it's like, okay, sometimes you're getting a bigger body because you're not looking after yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not good either. So
A teaspoon of cement sometimes to just...
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you need a reality check and go, all right, like,
And I think that comes down to what is your goal
yeah,
and what is helping or hindering you from reaching that goal and getting really clear on that.
Mm.
I know for myself, like the first part of the journey was I used to have really rigid rules and was really controlling. And for me, loosening the control and having like this more flexibility with what I was eating and what I was doing was the first step in like me healing that relationship. And yeah, I don't worry so much about like the specifics of like the physique or anything these days, but it's like, where am I finding joy in food again, in exercise? And I know that this will change again as my relationship heals even further, because I would say that there's still days that I struggle. But it's just like understanding the journey that I'm on and how there's some things that'll help and some things that'll hinder. So I find sometimes in conversations, like I can be like, not triggered, but I can be like, oh, okay, yep. We're still in that mindset where it's like you're talking about really rigid goals or really like controlling a situation. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Like I can't let myself live in that space again because I don't want it to transpire into old behaviours and habits.
Did that rigidity start from like diving or the mental health stuff?
No, it didn't start in diving. I was a pretty carefree kid in bathers and I was not necessarily confident in my body at that point in time.
I thought because it's a sport, you've got to be able to do somersaults and, you know, you'd need to be pretty healthy and fit to do all of that.
Which I was, yeah.
Because I know with like dancing and stuff like that, girls like, you need to be
Tiny.
stick thin to be able to do all the stuff. So I didn't,
I feel like there was no specific, nothing was ever specifically said, but I think there was this understanding that you'd be judged more if aesthetically you looked better.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I think if a body can do something really cool, it shouldn't matter what the body looks like
Yeah, for sure.
in size. But yeah.
The sport is aesthetic, so realistically, so.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It is what it is. Okay, so it didn't start with that then.
No.
Yeah.
My journey with my eating disorder probably started after school.
After school?
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Later.
because I've got no idea, but from my experience, it definitely
usually
is.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that creep in post school?
It was also after like sexual assault incident and just like this fear of my body and because I was put in a situation where I was like had lost control, it was like cool. Every opportunity then after that was like, how can I feed the control and how can I be in control of everything that I do? So yeah, mine definitely was all through my 20s.
Yeah. That the control aspect with that is the common. Yeah. It sucks. And like you said, the relationship with that and alcohol as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, hand in hand. Yeah, I was going to say you don't hear about cases without it, but obviously they're there. But I don't know, being a younger person, you hear about it so often with, drunk people, that sort of thing. I think that's it's super sad. And that coming from someone who's decided to go sober, like being able to witness it in other people, people change when they drink. And for me, it was not that I didn't like who I turned to when I was drunk. I liked it. It's more going, all right, you have that within you, like more fun, more free. You have that within you. You know you can do that sober. It's learning to let go of the things that are holding you back.
Yeah.
Like fear and all that sort of stuff. So now since stopping drinking, my challenge is to become the person I am when I'm drunk. For those parts, the fun parts, not the parts that, has anxiety and that sort of thing.
For sure.
Things that you may have said to the wrong person because you didn't have a filter.
Yep.
But for the person that didn't worry about what people had to say for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that alcohol's such a cultural thing. Even food. It's funny that you feel like you have to isolate yourself when you're trying to be healthier.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what do we do then? Like, how do we connect if it's not eating or drinking?
Yeah.
How do we, other than sport, but then sport is always then finished with alcohol. So.
But I think this is where tying this back and like full circle moment from the very start of community is like, this is where that shifted in me, was because I didn't drink. I didn't like going out for food. And I was like, how am I going to find my people? Let's find community groups that like getting up early in the morning, like coffees, like the nature side of things.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, bam, bam, bam. Here's like your breathwork communities on the beach. Here's your like hiking groups. Here's your run clubs, which was like early 20s version of Georgie would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is this? But in reality, these were all like aligned to my values and what the person that I wanted to be. Whereas connecting with people over dinner, over drinks, over getting smashed on the weekend was not. Yeah.
It's funny. I still love doing all that, but it was because I wanted to connect, not because I wanted to do the activity. It was the connection part, but that's all we knew that was there available. Yeah.
Well, you don't know until you know. And I think for me, like, I hated drinking. And the minute that I stopped drinking, I realized like, oh, I didn't have to do it to fit in anymore. I'd be able to function and find my people eventually.
Yeah, it's just having the courage to put yourself out there. Like you said, the 9 for 9 was a stretch, and it's caused such a wave of change because it's not just, going, oh, I can stand in the water for 9 minutes. I can go and try this community and make this friendship and blah, blah, blah. And now it's doing all the things you're doing now, which could be a national fitness festival starting at 9 minutes in the cold water.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's having the courage to try the thing. Yeah, ripple, that's what I was looking for, not a wave. I mean, wave's even bigger.
Oh, wave,
so
yeah. Like coming in like a wave.
Yeah, coming in like a wave. Big tsunami. Yeah. Having the courage to do the thing. Like, if you're scared about judgment or whatever, you kind of just got to go, well, same with the fitness thing. What's the worst that'll happen? And how bad do you want it? If you really want to make a change and you're not happy with where you are, what's the cost of doing the scary thing versus the cost of staying the same?
Yeah.
And then weighing that up and going, fuck, all right, well, I'm not happy where I am. If I try something different and I'm not happy doing that, I can just go back to the unhappy where I am.
Absolutely.
That's fine. What have you lost? Yeah.
I think it's just like an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
In any way. And I keep telling myself that. And that's how I frame it, in a like safer way. So it's not like I'm doing this massive, scary, outrageous thing, but it's like, well, what can I learn in these moments when I put myself in it? Something that's unfamiliar and uncomfortable.
Yeah. Often when you're trying to find, a job you want or a community group you want to join, it's like, well, ask yourself, what don't you want? Well, I know I don't want this. I know I don't want this. I know I don't want this. Oh, what's that? Oh, I don't know if I don't want that. Well, go and try it. Then you can tick that one off the list, and then you'll narrow it down to the things that you do want, and then just follow those.
100%.
It's trial and error,
Yeah.
Anything else we haven't touched on Because you said you have lots of things that people need to hear. So is there anywhere else we need to go that we haven't yet?
Oh, I feel like we've covered a lot.
Butterfly Foundation. I want to talk about, so it's about, is it just body image? What else do they cover?
Butterfly Foundation is predominantly body image and eating disorders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
In
largest
schools.
mental health organisation in Australia. They run like a retreat program for eating disorders, and then we run like prevention in schools and community groups. But yeah, just nationwide prevention awareness.
Cool. So you do your self-mastery course, you know, you go, I need to help other people. There's obviously steps between that and Butterfly Foundation. What other things helped you get along that way to building the confidence, the skill set to be able to go, all right, I figured out this works for me. I want to help people, to being able to speak in front of hundreds of kids. What's a couple of things that helped you get from that, the person that was afraid to step outside? The self-mastery course helps you step outside. How does it help you step into a full auditorium? What are the middle steps?
Actively trying it in communities. I think like the first step was like being around maybe a group of 10 people and just like having a crack and speaking on some topics that I was like really passionate or really enjoyed speaking on. And then what I found in that, like when there were friends or people in the community groups that I knew, it was a lot more intimidating and frightening because you're like, oh my God, these are my friends. And I'm sharing like some of the, you know, most open things to them. So that was interesting, like them learning about vulnerability and how important that was for me to grow, versus presenting in front of 200, you know, youth. Like they don't know me from a bar of soap. They can think all they want about me and it doesn't really affect me at the end of the day. Whereas you care about your friends' opinions on you, I guess. So that's again, another interesting part of like the journey. As a teacher, I mean, I present in front of a class most days at school. So I was teaching at the time I did the self-mastery course. So yeah, that sort of gave me the courage as well of just like being open to presenting and being open to being in front of a group of people. What else?
What made you want to become a teacher?
I never wanted to be a teacher when I was a student, but I did an AFL traineeship, which was a year in a school after school. And I worked in the PE department doing like a lot of like the admin and the management.
You cut
of
your
school.
hair off for that one as well?
No. I'm glad this can be a joke now.
Yeah.
And I just saw the way that the school worked and I was just like really interested and I was like, oh, maybe that would be a path that I'd like to take. And at the time I was coaching sport and really involved in like empowering kids to be, you know, doing sports and trying new skills. And then I went on to uni, which I'd already like enrolled in previously to do my health science degree because I wanted to become a physio. And got 2 years into that, majoring in rehabilitation and counselling, did my ACL, did my meniscus, and I was like, fuck that, I don't want to do physio.
I need rehab and counselling. That's funny.
So I finished the degree, but I didn't go on to do physio after that, and I jumped ship, was still coaching at the time and went into teaching and was like, nah, I want to work with young people and, yeah, harness the energy of like supporting them.
Which leads you to now being fully self-employed. And what are some things that you're looking, how to grow in this space? And I was giving you props for it before because there's so many people we know still have that 1 foot in the job just to keep them safe. What is it exactly that you're doing for yourself? So if there's anyone interested in how they can get connected with you further and support what you're doing, what is it like exactly?
I'm running like mentoring program for teenage girls predominantly. So running some workshops and presentations in sporting clubs and in some schools at the moment as well, which has been really cool, but just supporting teenage girls with the challenges that, you know, we go through, that I went through, and the person that I wanted to be holding their hand out and reaching out to support me when I was a teen, but navigating the challenges of friendship, of sport, of building confidence, of like understanding and loving my body for what it is. And I think for me anyway, there was such a disconnect, like going through puberty, of who I was and like that shift. And so being able to support young people through those like transitional phases is something that's been really important to me. And I've noticed like through all the sports coaching that I've done that I've always been a safe place for these young girls. And so I've always sort of had my foot in a few different doors, and I've been doing this on the side. But the last few months I've just been like, again, have a crack. This is what I want to do. Go all in on it. See how you go. At the end of the day, if I don't have the success that I want in it, there's always other options, and it's only going to put me in better stead to grow and to evolve into the next version of myself that I want to be. So it's sort of just, don't let maybe get in the way of what could be something even better.
Don't let maybe get in the way of something. Yeah. What was the biggest hurdle mentally that you had to get through to make that the truth for you, to tell maybe to fuck off?
I feel like this has still been happening just like recently in the last couple of weeks. I think the moment that you choose to fully embody what you want is the moment that you sort of see the change, well, that I've seen the change in myself. And again, I talk to my own experience of just like, I've always focused on the financial outcome of it, and I've always had a side job to supplement and to support me, because I'm too worried that what if it doesn't work out? But in the last few weeks, I've been like, fuck it, it's going to work out. Like, it's almost, I feel like there's no specific time or reason that it changed, but it's just all of a sudden, all of this trust in myself and all of this understanding of who I am, and that I have got a message and I have got a skill set to deliver. It's like, I can do it. I don't think there's one point, but it's just like this complete shift in myself of like fully embodying that this is what I'm doing and I don't need another way, but this is what I'm doing and I can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question, but that's just like where I'm at right now.
Yeah, just deciding to put the fear to the side and back yourself in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so many people could take that and add that to themselves, to their own lives. Because all it is fear. It's not actually reality.
Yeah.
That they can't do it. It's that little voice in their head that's going, oh, what if you fail? What if you fail? We'll just remove the what if you fail and just let the success happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to, again, like tying in from what we've been speaking of previously, of like all of those future illusions that aren't even true or real yet. Like, why am I letting them dictate where I'm at right now?
Yeah.
Be here now, take the steps, take the action, and the success that I want will eventually come through.
Yeah. Be Here Now, Ram Dass, great book. Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. You can buy it at Kmart. Saw it the other night. Yeah. Any other words of wisdom you want to leave them with before we wrap it up? I know you got someone to be.
I think leaning into courage and allowing courage to be my best friend has been single-handedly like the biggest shift, has allowed like the biggest shifts in myself. Again, regardless of an outcome, being courageous in doing something or taking a step has enabled so much to unfold for me.
Love it. Yeah. Don't be attached to the outcome. Just go and do it because you want to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you don't need to justify that to anyone else either.
Yeah, you're doing it for yourself, so.
That's it.
Cool. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, anytime. It's been fun. Yeah.
Thanks for exploring my life with me.
Yeah, awesome. I love following every branch. It's good fun. Thank you.
Sweet.
Oh, my leg's dead.
Yeah.